Hello and welcome everyone to yet another episode of CMO Dialogues hosted by afaqs, where we talk to marketers about their stellar marketing careers. Today we have with us Prerna Tiku, who is the CMO of MTR. She's previously worked with other major corps such as Pizza Hut, Godrej, Wipro, and has a rough estimated, career of about roughly 2 decades. Prerna, welcome.
Hi, Ubed. Thank you for having me here. It's really an honor and privilege to be here today and talking to you. And yeah, you just mentioned 2 decades. It almost makes me feel like a dinosaur now.
Well, we welcome you as well. Before we begin, I just firstly like to ask you about your own personal journey. Having almost 2 decades of experience in marketing, what prompted the decision to enter the field for you, and what made you stay for so long?
Yes, like you said, that 2 decades, I think, has taken me through various different cities, various different businesses, various different brands across different categories. So I've had an opportunity to work with home and personal care, restaurant business, and of course, foods. And I think about 15 of those 20 years have been spent working on food, and a decade of that with MTR, in fact. And you asked me that, what prompted me to pursue the field of marketing. I think early on I realized that, marketing is a field which is core and central to many different aspects of business. So it's core to the consumer, consumer at the center of what we do. It's also core to the business. So you're very, very closely linked to the short-term and the long-term business goals. And of course, very core to strategy. So all these three aspects really make it a very exciting space, and there's never been a dull day, I would say, in the last 2 decades. And it continues to be a learning space, constantly evolving. So much has changed, and so much is still the same, and that makes it an exciting journey to really go with.
That's interesting you say that there's never been a dull day for you, because the next question is, what are the most memorable campaigns that you worked on, and why do they stand out for you?
Yeah, and I'm sure any marketer would say that every launch or every campaign is like a baby and very, very close to their hearts. And I'm no different. I think there have been some fantastic journeys of learning, some great successes, some failures as well. But the two campaigns that really stand out for me, and both come from my tenure in MTR. The first one was the launch of 3 Minute Breakfast. So when we enter this segment of 3 Minute Breakfast, it came from a very strong insight that Indian breakfast is what the young consumer prefers today. They'd rather skip breakfast than not get the breakfast that they love. But the biggest barrier really was around, how do they make it, the effort of making it, the time in the morning with the rushed schedule that consumers have through the weekdays. So this campaign really was special because this was the first time we were talking as a brand to this cohort of consumers, to the young millennial Gen Z consumer segment. And we also, this meant that the entire marketing mix had to be imagined differently, starting with the product, moving from, typically being a brand that focuses around families. We were, for the first time, focused around individual needs, right? So that meant also how we changed the way that our format of the product is, from being, a family consumption pack to being, accessed easily anywhere, any place, different formats, which could also help consumers take the breakfast on the go as they sort of move around the day. It also meant that we had to change the way that we talk to this consumer. We created a sub-brand, the MTR Minute range, which allowed us to, become a little more connected to the segment of consumer, be around while staying core to our brand MTR. We were more informal, we were more friendly to, and we were able to speak in the language the consumer spoke and reach them in platforms and media that they were close to, and that meant that digital became a very big part of the media mix that we explored to reach this consumer. So this was a very special campaign. The second one, which is closer to the core of our business, spices, masalas contributes over 50% of our business today. And one of the things that we do continuously is innovate to meet the consumer needs of everyday food in our core geographies. And a part of that was this launch of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana uses podis. These are basically powders made with lentils and different kind of spices, which is used as accompaniment with the meals. Our challenge was really to, in a category where, this consumer was basically making these podis at home, and, we had to convert from homemade to packaged. And it was quite an interesting journey because we, right from the outset, we, built this product with the consumer, not just for the consumer. So we co-created the products, and that really went into the way we developed the campaign as well. So it was not about MTR giving you a range of podis, but really the consumer herself building these podis with the brand. And that was a very special campaign as well.
Right. Well, those are two campaigns that you seem to be very fond of. But as they say, there's always, failure seems to be the best of teachers. And do you recall any campaign that, perhaps didn't work out the way you anticipated, but eventually gave you some valuable insights and lessons?
Yes, of course, as you absolutely right when you say that learn possibly arguably more through failures than through successes. And we've innovation has been at the very core of what MTR has always done. And while a lot of innovations of ours are iconic products and spaces now, there have been few learnings as well. So some time ago we launched a range of veggie idlis. Now, this is a concept, was excellent, something that, vegetable infused, sort of main meals is something that is enjoyed world over. But at that point, this is about 8 years back, a little ahead of its times. So it did not see the success that we expected it to be. And I think that was a learning that sometimes the concepts are great, but if the consumer is not ready for it and the market's not ready for it, you have to pause and see, wait and watch.
And now AI seems to have taken over. It's part of every marketing and advertising discussions we have currently. So, what is your commentary on these fundamental shifts that you're seeing occurring right before your eyes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think technology is something that has been a key driver to change of businesses through the decades. Not just today, actually. This is something that it's at the center of evolution of businesses and brands for many years. And at MTR, we have embraced technology, and I'll come to AI in a bit, but largely technology is at the center of everything that we do. So our endeavor really has been to embrace technology in all forms, whether it is products, whether it is people, whether it is processes. In every form, we are really bringing technology to the forefront. So our entire value chain, leverages AI in a very big way, whether it is our manufacturing to supply chain to the front end sales and of course marketing. So in all forms of business, we have basically embraced technology. We're 100% digitized when it comes to sales. So that's really how we are using AI in all forms of business. But coming closer to marketing, I think again, AI has been at the core of consumer inciting, whether it's analytics. We use it extensively there. We use it in our media buying and planning processes as well, especially in the digital media space, through our partners, as well as through our internal capabilities that we are building. We also use generative AI for creating content, as well as developing concepts for our new products as well as our ongoing campaigns. So in every form, AI has sort of taken a role, or a part to sort of build upon how the brand is really evolving. But yes, we are also cognizant of the fact that we don't want to lose our unique voice. We want to make sure that the brand stays as close to consumer as possible, and it doesn't, sound like a machine, but the voice of the brand is heard and uniquely connects with the consumer. And we are making sure that while AI is embraced in every form, we are also retaining the essence and the connect with the consumer.
You joined MTR in 2014 after your stint with Pizza Hut. And you joined a brand that origins in 1924 and just recently finished 100 years, a century-old brand. That's got to come with its own set of challenges to have that 100-year legacy on your shoulders. So how has your experience been so far? And what are the challenges that you face keeping the legacy in mind while reconciling with the modern consumer?
Yeah, so 100 years, we call ourselves 100 years young, and not 100 years old. And I'll explain that with an analogy. If you've seen a tree or a plant growing, the tree or a plant, it grows in two different directions, right? Constantly, the root is growing deeper, and as is the tree growing taller, or the branches getting stronger, right? So that's really been the philosophy behind, the legacy or the journey of 100 years that MTR has built. We have stayed rooted, and we have strengthened our roots even further through authenticity while staying modern and contemporary and relevant to the consumer. So that's really how the brand has evolved. And there are a few ways that I can explain this a little better. Of course, this is a special year because we celebrate our 100 years. And, we've started the year, with this journey. So I'm not sure if you've caught this. We recently set Guinness Book, we set a record in the Guinness Book of World Record for the longest dosa made, 123 feet. So that was actually coming from the fact that, we are very proud of our heritage of expertise around dosa, and we have recently launched entered into the chilled segment with our signature range of batter, idli and dosa batters, as well as different kind of breads. In fact, this world record was set with 123 feet red rice dosa, which is a signature recipe that MTR has. So similarly, I think the whole aspect of building the brand or strengthening the brand through, always creating relevant spaces, but staying rooted to our authenticity, to our, recipes. We constantly work towards that. We in fact have invested behind a cuisine center of excellence, which is a team of chefs that works very, very closely with the home cooks from across our core geographies. We've already collected a recipe, repository of over 3,000 recipes. These are recipes that you would not find in any recipe book. These are recipes that are actually passed on through generations, that are embedded into the culture of the different places that we come from. We believe that we are proudly local. We take a lot of pride in our roots. So, like I said, that we come from Karnataka, Bangalore, started from a small coffee shop in 1924 to now being a packaged food leader. It has basically taken us through different milestones, but where, authenticity and innovation have been at the center of who we really are.
Right. And speaking of ready to eat and ready to cook category, how have you seen the category evolve over the years? Because there's been a lot of discussion about, only the urban folks who live in, metros, delving and consuming ready to eat and ready to cook meals, because obviously there's time restraints and there's busy schedules. Are there any key consumer trends and consumption trends that you've seen in this category?
No, absolutely. I think there is, like you rightly, I think you already answered partly that question. Convenience is a very key need today, but convenience not at the cost of taste. So taste is a very, very important aspect that the consumer is seeking, and that's where a brand like us, MTR, comes in. We pride ourselves in understanding local food very well. That's how we built our, that's in the core of who we really are. So I think, one of the key consumer trends is essentially the need for convenience. And convenience manifests itself in different ways for different segments of consumers, right? So if I look at a Gen Z consumer segment, a first jobber in a city who's basically, come in from their hometown into the working world for the first time. They don't have time, possibly not the skill to cook either. So all what they're seeking is a very convenient solution where there's no cooking needed at all, but they are able to enjoy the delight and taste of Indian food like they've grown up on. So that's one need of convenience. But at the same time, there is imagine a working woman who's got a family, a nuclear family with children. She's seeking a different kind of convenience. She still wants to put together the meal for the family, but she doesn't have as much time as her mother did, for example. But she has still the need to give her family a nice home cooked meal. So she's seeking convenience in the form of ease of making. So ease of cooking becomes a need of convenience. So convenience itself has many dimensions, and that's a very big consumer trend that we are seeing. In addition to this, we are seeing a lot of need for fresh chilled products. So that's what prompted us to enter the segment of fresh batter and breads like the in Karnataka there is a bread called akki roti. It's eaten in breakfast by consumers. So in the breakfast space, we have entered with fresh, short shelf life chilled products. That's a growing need that we're seeing. In addition to that, there is also a lot of consumer behavior around, wanting to be connected back to their roots. They like I said, that a lot of consumers we see today are they migrate from their hometowns, home cities into larger towns and cities, and what they're seeking is, while they don't have the time, but they're seeking convenience in the form of packaged food, which helps them put together meals that that they would enjoy on an everyday basis. So that's really the aspect. So being local, I think, is an important lever for us to understand the local consumer needs.
Right. Uh, like you mentioned, there's a need for there's people trying to connect with their traditions, and but they don't have the time, or convenience is the key. But given the spectrum of products you have under your portfolio, one would assume that the demographics you cater to are strikingly different. And how do you then identify your target groups and market to them distinctly?
Yeah, I think we've early on, I think our focus has been largely on building our portfolio for different consumer needs, predominantly coming from the fact that food inherently is very local. It's deeply embedded in culture, and therefore that's really at the core of who we are. And I mentioned a little about the center of excellence that we have built. So even our marketing teams and the structure with which we really work is very local in design, so that we can cater to these different segments of consumers. And today, with the digital era, it has made it even easier for us to, sort of build these consumer personas and customize our solutions and our offerings, and also our communication to these consumer segments. So we actively use, a lot of our initiatives are even to the extent of targeting at a pin code level, personalizing communication and conversation at that micro level, while staying, of course, consistent as a brand in terms of the brand messaging.
Right. Understood. Now, one last question for you. Going forward, what are the exciting projects that you're currently, anticipating that you'll work on? And are there any new launches or new campaigns that we should be informed of?
Yeah, so we are continuously innovating. That's really how, and innovation for us is not just restricted in the form of new product launches, but also in the way that we speak to our consumers. We keep experimenting with, how, what kind of technology to use to reach our consumers. Very recently, we've used AI to, personalize campaigns to different consumer needs. We did a campaign around travel, travelers basically, and, we customized campaigns to the specific geography or the destination that they were sort of visiting, and, created product offerings which are relevant for them. At the same time, we have very recently expanded our play into the sweets portfolio. We have built, like I mentioned, a range of ready-to-eat sweets. It's ranging from family consumption to individual consumption, which is typically what when you go across to a shop and you crave something sweet, you have a small bite size sweet which is delicious. At the same time, it can be eaten right then and there, and it is something that we are building consciously through our approach of sort of building consumer connect at a very local level. So that's really how we're building. We've also expanded our chilled and fresh range to introduce a new set of products. So we have launched a signature batter, which I said, the dosa and the idli batter, and it came from a very strong insight that we come from Karnataka, and we've understood that the consumer here does not have a single batter for both idli and dosa. She is seeking authenticity in her everyday breakfast as well, and that's really what prompted us to build exclusively different batters for idli and dosa. And we also introduced a signature batter with red rice, which we've launched, and expanded our breakfast portfolio to include breads as well. So akki roti, I mentioned, it's a rice-based bread. So there are a lot of new things happening. They will continue to happen. And yeah, we look forward to a great century ahead, since we've just completed 100 years. We recently concluded a very large scale food festival. It's a very unique concept that MTR has. We call it MTR Karunadu Swada. This is a Karnataka food festival where we showcased over 100 dishes from across different regions of Karnataka. We also, this is a concept that we also extend to other geographies. We have the, Telugu Ruchulu, which is for Telangana and Andhra cuisine as well. So this is again a great way for us to connect with our consumers, interact with them on a one-on-one basis, really get an opportunity to showcase the cuisines, of these diverse states that we operate in. So yeah, that's some of the new stuff that we have done, and you will continue to see a lot more of that.
But I just have a follow-up question. In terms of, geographies, where do you see most of your business coming in from? And are there any key geographical locations that you aim to kind of foray into or explore?
Of course, Karnataka, which is our home ground, that's a very large part of our play in our business. Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, the South markets are something that we are very, very, very consciously building. In addition to that, we also have a very strong presence across metro cities around the country. So it's not just restricted to the South cities, but across so in some of our categories, like breakfast mixes, our 3-minute breakfast, we hold strong leadership positions across the country at an all India level, even desserts. So it's while we are, like I said, proudly local, based out in Karnataka. We have a presence across the country, largely in metro cities, larger cities. And we are present in across channels. So that enables us to reach every corner of the country. We also have our own D2C platform that services, across the country, all PIN codes across the country. So that gives us an opportunity to connect on a direct basis with consumers across the country as well. Yeah.
Understood. Well, those are all the questions I had for you, Prerna. Thank you so much for taking the time and speaking to Apex. I look
Thank
forward to
you
speaking
very
to you
much. Thank you, Obed. It was a pleasure talking. Thank you.
again. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.